Okay, it's time for ISC Arrasted Development. I see some Cargo SRV. Or Argo SRV. Okay, some ship stuff. Ship today. I'm not the most knowledgeable. I don't care too much about most ships. More about the gameplay impacts they can have, to be honest. So the Argo, this is a ship
SRV
I'm
is the tow truck of the universe. It is that single player, I want to rescue, recover, retrieve other vehicles in the game.
Marco and Naros.
SRV stands for a standard recovery vehicle.
It's for tugging other ships around. Maybe they're disabled, maybe it's a difficult docking situation and needs help.
My favorite thing I've seen so far players doing is, if you haven't seen The Expanse, there's a character, I don't want to spoil anything here, but basically, people have just been throwing stuff with the tractor beam at other stuff, which is great. Players will always find an aggressive way to play a non-aggressive gameplay loop.
It's meant for when you've got ships stranded out in space that they need some help. You're there with your flashing lights and your bright orange ship to go and rescue them.
It's for the player that wants to help rather than go out murdering.
No, see.
You often go out murdering?
Yeah. I often go out murdering.
That's good to have on tape. Yeah, no, people will find a way to
Argo has a very strong visual style in our game, so there's a few kind of core elements that we knew we had to have. It's got to be orange. There's no question about that. It needs to have kind of VTOLs that rotate. It needs to have big engines at the back, and it needs to feel kind of super industrial and very functional compared to a lot of our other manufacturers.
Yep.
One of the things that we learned early on when we were doing Argo ships as a manufacturer is, as the orange is such a bold color, we really want to kind of keep that contained as much as we can. So what we try and do now with our Argo ships is we still want them to be orange, we still want them to be very recognizable, but we want that all to be contained within one area, and then the underside is kind of like the more mechanical area and the kind of black bellies. And I think that difference between the tops and bottoms really helps to add some believability to the vehicle. Not everyone loves orange, so we will have different paint options available.
The Argo SRV has 3 tints. It has a really nice white one and a black and yellow one, which is my favorite. And
oh, they got
also
different,
this blue
different
beigey one,
tints.
which I think out of all the ships,
blue's all right, but
for
like
Argo, that kind of color combination. My favorite thing about the exterior
I still
of
would
the
never,
SRV is that it's very consistent with both.
I would never, in my opinion, use an Argo ship without the orange on it. I feel like what of their ships do you need to be like hiding? And like even then, people can just scan you and find you anyways. So yeah, no, I like the orange. I wouldn't use
the mole and the raft. It has this diamond shape on the top with the circular feature. I like that kind of consistency. It really feels like a family of ships.
They do look, yeah.
Originally,
the design
the
language
SRV
is very
didn't have much of an interior, but we pushed for like a bigger one.
We've tried to balance both the Argo utility feeling that everyone loves, along with keeping it nice enough that you could bring in a couple of explorers whose ship's down. You'll enter the engineering area. This is actually where you enter the ship. The airlock or the lift is in the floor of that room. Within this room contains all the components for the SRV. It's kind of like the
so one thing I really love about these new ship designs is I feel like ship components, not that they weren't before, but I feel like it was less consistent with ship components and how accessible they were. Like I feel like in so many ships now, you look at the shield engine just came out, you look at this, those components are immediately accessible upon entering the ship. That does 2 things. One, it makes it so that just you know where everything is. If you quickly need to get in and out of your ship to make some changes to your ship, like you're pulling stuff out of the persistent hangars. Once those happen, you're pulling stuff out of the lift to transfer into your ship and trade out components. You're not having to wander through the whole ship. One's over here, one's over here. Got to go through 20 doors to do it. It's just there and accessible. So I really like I feel like this is becoming a more consistent thing with these newer ships. And the second thing is that it makes pirate gameplay easier. You can bust into someone's ship and steal their stuff easier, which I guess arguably is not a good thing. I guess in the real world, would you you probably want your stuff hidden, but you're going to be changing stuff out more yourself likely than you are going to be boarded and having your stuff stolen. So
but all
I like what they're doing
and refined more into a single space, so everything's kind of jammed in there, so you can access everything at once if you need to. Moving on, you'll go onto the bridge. You'll sort of be greeted by your standard Argo styling, your space trucker seat, your ball bars and your nice angled glass. Then moving on to the rear of the ship, you've got the habitation area. In the habitation area, you've also got bed for if you're long hauling, the suit locker for going into hazardous places, and like a gun rack, so you've still got that utility in there as well.
Gotta have a gun rack.
Bit about that is it's got like a sort of like rest and recovery area for the person being rescued, so they don't have to stay in their busted up soft F ship. They can come over to the SRV.
That's nice. That's cool.
Sit at the table, get like a recovery coffee.
You know what they need to do is they need to have TV screens, because one of the big things I really look forward to in Star Citizen is the ability for media to be like diegetic, right? Like if I'm filming a race in the game and then having that race broadcast to other players in the verse is something that I think would be really cool. So imagine this player, you rescue them and you got a TV up there, they can just sit, watch, and be like, hey, what's going on in the verse? Flip through some channels, whether it's ISCs, whether it's any of the promotional material like IAE coming up. Let me watch these Molly videos, or let me watch a race that's going on at Grimhex or something like that. Like having that, I think, is really going to make players want to role play a lot more. It's going to make them want to actually exist in the verse. The more you take them away from traditional game and give them these experiences diegetically in the world, the more immersive it's going to get.
Kind of sit down and look out, and you can see your ship being towed by the SRV.
The Argo SRV has a very large tractor and towing beam assembly on the rear of the ship that the pilot controls. So they navigate towards the vehicle,
What's up, Wody?
swap to the turret view that controls the tractor beam, and then they position it and lock onto that ship.
Pulling a cat.
Reasons
Man,
why
this
you would
thing is
use
tough.
it. Maybe you've run out of fuel and you don't want to pay some exorbitant staff owners fees to refuel. You want your friend to come tow you back to a spaceport. And most importantly,
most people don't know that you can get repaired from soft def now. But obviously, you won't be in a safe place if you got put into soft def. So the SRV is going to come along, tow your ship to a safe location where it can get repaired. It's like a car recovery
this
vehicle.
is stuff that's only going to be more relevant once there's actual repercussions. Right now, it's you die, it really doesn't matter in the game. But when death and insurance becomes more of a thing, that's where this role is. So I can see people having fun with SRV for now, and I think it'll help with salvage too, because you're going to have these opportunities where, like, okay, let me just move ships in the way of the Vulture or the Reclaimer. They can salvage stuff. But beyond that, the gameplay for the SRV isn't going to be as relevant until death and insurance for your ships means something. Because right now, yeah, even if people didn't know that you couldn't recover from soft death, it doesn't matter. Just blow up your ship and get a new one, right? Like, just respawn. Because there's no loss to doing that. Really.
If you break down on the motorway, sort of thing.
Maybe some money if you have a lot of good guns on your ship.
And then that ship can be repaired back to a state of flight.
But I like that it's there for when it's ready.
System comes into play, because you won't always be in full soft def. You could have messed up your engines.
I can see this breaking a lot. towing someone through quantum.
This could have malfunctioned. Power plants could be worn out and need replacing. All these things are going to result in ships that are fairly immobile, or ground vehicles that
I have
are
a feeling
immobile.
people are going to
And we don't want players
be
to
dropping
just simply
ships out of
go
quantum a lot.
and claim on their insurance for these things as their first port of call. We want people to recover it. It's going to be much more beneficial to you in the short and long term.
So I
actually
managed to land my ship in a hangar. I was missing a wing. I was busted up. It was not good. And my ship, I think, just decided, like, it was so bad that I crash landed it onto the ship, and it's soft death, and I couldn't fix it. It wouldn't let me fix it. So it's still, you have to make sure that you get a landing spot that lets you refuel and fix if you want to do that.
The SRV, the shields need to be down on the target vehicle or ship, so that could be the player is willingly lowered their shields, or they're in a state where the shields no longer function.
So okay,
and it needs to be not fighting against the SRV in terms of.
Right, so you could. This will be cool though. Imagine soft deathing an opponent, and then shields are down, and you just start towing them away to somewhere. Like this player's just like, okay, I guess we're going. That'll be some fun gameplay. Again, or you could Marco and Aros them and throw them at a station. That actually, I kind of want to do that. I want to soft death someone and then just yeet their ship at other things. That'd be really fun.
Movement.
The idea of making a tow truck, I think, is a great idea. When you're a little boy and you grow up and you see the breakdown vehicles sat at the side of the road with their flashing lights on, being able to kind of recreate that, but for our own audience, is super fun. So
that's the SRV, and it is another great entry point into a support career.
We've got a lot of combat and commerce type ships, but it's the next true support class vehicle.
For those of you who don't want to fight, don't want to haul goods, the SRV is there to help you support other players.
I'm gonna reach out to
NPCs
Gear. We're doing that.
You want me to say I'll be a tow truck driver? I'm more of a Drake guy.
So you're more of the getting towed guy?
I'm definitely more of the getting towed guy, yeah. I will need a friend with an SRV nearby.
It's for good people who like to help others, unlike Drake owners.
Unlike Drake.
The Intergalactic Aerospace X.
By the way, if anybody wants to get involved in shenanigans, make sure you're in the Discord. Link will be in the description below. Or if you're watching here live on Twitch, !Discord in the chat. Get in the chat. Join us. Play. Let's have some fun. Hi, Jared.
But was our annual celebration of all things ship and vehicle in the Star Citizen universe. Whether that's alien starters like the Gattac Sulin, stylish cargo craft like the Crusader Spirit C1,
It's a really good
personal
coffee.
people tanks like the Tumble Storm, or the recently made flyable space tow truck, the Argo SRV. And yes, I know, and I can already see the YouTube comments now.
We already got that ship yesterday.
Well, I like spaceships, and I like the people that make spaceships, and I like showcasing their development. But I hear you. So let's move things forward and discuss the new concept vehicle that's making its debut this Saturday.
Good, because I'll be honest. I like ships, but I don't like the ISCs being entirely about ships. Because I don't know, it doesn't I like ISC being about the development or things to look forward to. And just being like, hey, here's I don't know, ships just aren't that cool. Like, they're cool to me, but like I don't care a lot about them. You know, if like a new variant of like an Arrow comes out or something, you know, it's like I don't care too much about that because it's in a gameplay loop I don't care too much about. I mean, a game changer like the SRV, sure, showcase it. But I prefer these being like, sprint runs are my favorite.
RSI
I think they're everyone's
Arrastra.
favorite, but
Last year for CitizenCon, we did a vote to decide what vehicle you wanted to see next, and the winner was the mining ship. So what we ended up doing is the large
he looked
RSI
like he
mining
wasn't
ship,
happy about that. Let me watch that. He's like, the mining ship.
the mining ship. So what we ended up doing is the large
I think he probably just
RSI
forgot
mining
because they
ship,
make
which
so
has
many
turned out
ships
to
that he
be the
probably
RSI
forgot what it was.
Arrastra.
But
What is Arrastra?
Absolutely no idea.
Primitive mill that's used in grinding ores, I think.
The name Arrastra derives from the ancient mining tool and technique.
So in Star Citizen, we have a number of mining ships already. We've got the Prospector, which is kind of like your starter hour. The Mole is that kind of first multi-crew ship. It allows you to go out with a few friends and kind of try and work a profit together. And then the top of the scale, we've got the Orion. That's the kind of end game of mining. And we saw this gap between the two. So the RSI Arrastra.
Someone on Discord has one of those in their fleet.
Gap. So the Arrastra kind of combines the core visual elements that we've kind of developed over the years of RSI. It still has that definite triangular arrowhead shape to it, so it still feels at home within the RSI family.
Like the Zeus a little bit.
One of the things we struggled with a little bit at the beginning when concepting it was we didn't want it to feel too sleek. It really needs to feel like it had a functional purpose, and that really led us down exposing a lot more of the industrial elements. We've built on the idea of RSI layering in their ships.
It looks like
really
a gunship.
The core framework of the ship down the central kind of columns.
It also has a much more comfortable habitation for the crew to live on. It's got plenty of utility on board for day-to-day life, as well as a place to actually land additional vehicles in the back.
Holy, what the hell?
It has everything you need to spend a large amount of time away.
Why is this thing so big?
Habitation for the crew to live on. It's got plenty of utility on board for day-to-day life, as well as a place to...
Look at the size of this thing. This is like... this almost looks like it's 2/3 the size of like a Hercules. Holy crap.
Actually land additional vehicles in the back.
2 ROCs in it?
It has everything you need to spend a large amount of time away from dock, away from station. It's got an onboard refinery. It's got a large amount of ore storage, as well as onboard cargo. It's a kind of big, serious mining ship, and it's
giving me Odyssey vibes then.
To kind of go out and really kind of step into that professional level mining outfit without requiring, you know, a big capital ship.
We have multiple stations for different people to actually mine at the same time as each other.
They're all sat together in a very RSI-like bridge section. The remote turrets that are on the Arrastra all have some level of transformation in terms of their location. The 2 at the front can slide backwards and forwards along, so you don't require the pilot to have to go left a bit, go right a bit.
But then we also have a large one in the center, which can descend through the middle of the ships.
Can actually transform down through the ship and out the bottom to cover the underside. So really you can mine
the armament's not
massive of this ship.
But like, as it cuts through the ship, you can actually see the turret as it travels from one side to the other.
And then additional crew members can help either position the ship if they want to change location, or deal with the mined goods at the rear of the ship in the cargo bay. But the ship can also hold ground mining vehicles. If you are planet side, some of those crew members could take mining vehicles that you've stored aboard out and do some surface mining whilst the ship hangs around nearby to tackle some ground mining rocks. So this ship is really perfectly placed for people who want to go mining but don't quite know what they're going to encounter along the way. They are equipped to tackle anything on the surface, anything on space.
One of the benefits of concepting the Arrastra now is that we know a lot more about our game, a lot more about how mining works and kind of features in the game. That gives us a much better understanding of what's important for a mining ship. And that's one of the things that we'll take on to when we kind of deliver the Orion in the future.
So this is a great example of how development on some ships improves and expedites others. Compared to the Orion, this bridges the gap in a few nice ways. It leverages all the existing mining loops and mechanics that we have in-game at the moment, whereas the Orion is going to be solely mining in space. It is a big ship designed for sitting out in deep space, mining big asteroids. It won't be capable of going down to planet size and mining on there.
Right. What we kind of learned from the Orion is
that look very aerodynamic.
A lot of RSI ships feel very, very aggressive. They feel very military and fast. And if you think of like a big industrial
one of the things like how the hull in that will deal in the new flight system.
Huge kind of bulky ship that is very purpose-built. And what we want to do with the Arrastra is take the lessons that we'd learned from that and combine that with some of the more modern RSI art styles and manufacturing techniques.
The Arrastra is the sort of all-in-one mining ship. You've started hand mining at the very start. You've progressed to, say, a rock as the next step, then a prospector, then a mole. This is the big step that will let you do a bit of everything. You can mine, you can find, you can transport. And then if you want to go even deper into that, then you go off to the Orion at the end.
It is good that they
this week. Well,
it is good. It's already. It's good that they create a. There's still 3 minutes left. Interesting. It's good that they create a progression level for players that eventually get in and they have the base package, right? They have the base package and they what's the next thing for them, right? Along a specific gameplay loop. So in itself, the gameplay loop is deep. So it's not only vertical progression, it's horizontal progression as well, right? Which is really nice. So it's like, okay, I'm getting better at this thing. You know, I start here and I'm really good, but now I want a ship that can help me advance those skills. I'll move up to this one, keep getting better with it. So you get a step ladder of progression, which is really good because it creates this deep level of progression without, oh, I'm level 13 at mining, you know, and which I love. It just feels more realistic, even though it is still a video game.
Learn that the SRV is another fine addition to the working class gameplay Argo always seems to specialize in. That the RSI Arrastra wants to be the next big step in the evolution of mining gameplay before its even bigger Orion sibling arrives farther down the line. And that IAE continues to be the biggest ship and vehicle event of the year. But it's also Thanksgiving. And today, while we continue to always give thanks to you, the
Happy Thanksgiving to my American friends.
All of this possible.
Happy late Thanksgiving.
I want to give a special thanks personally to the folks behind the ships. Now, all of the ships and vehicles in Star Citizen are only made possible by the variety of content, gameplay, and feature teams all contributing to their look, feel, performance, and overall experience. Despite a few YouTube comments that seem to think Dan McCabe makes some of these things all by himself. Because there's like 62 people on the vehicle content team alone. If only there were a way to make everybody remember that. Perhaps with the power of song.
No.
All right, relax.
The music like went up for a second too.
Even I'm not that cringe. So for Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you. And we'll see you all here next week.
I got a bit at the end.
And now, the developers of our vehicles by Disco Lando.
They actually did it.
Kingsley Von Walker, Nate Lang, Adam Parker, Chris Law, Ben Curtis, John Crew, Alberto Petronio, Ben Parr, and Luke Mello, George Coffin, Rich Towler, too, Corey Benford, Aaron Egan, and Patrick Solano, Al Parker, Mark Gibson, and Still, Kevin Turney, then Beamal, and Jin, and Zaheen, and Josh Crow, and Jay Thompson, Lars Lopkins, Samuel Brito, Chris Diggs, Bradley Vincent, Tom Hoskins, Chris Smith, April Dillons as well, Matt Vieira, Matt Monty, Matt Gronjo.
This is probably
Evan
the
Jr.,
greatest thing
Dom,
Jared has ever done.
Owen and Alex and Alman and Haiti and Leif Livio and Lorenzo. Davinder Peliquin, Dan Dexter Taylors, and don't forget Man and Triero. Hosmer McCabe and then Bartram and Tobin.
How long do you think it took them to make this?
I'm way past my time, but we still have designers like Josh Lee P. Tom and Mercedes. There's Stocko and Adam and Corwin and Harry.
Okay. That was probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen him do. Hey, you know what? I said I don't like ship episodes that much as other episodes. That ship episode I liked more than other episodes. Oh, that's wonderful. Cool. Well, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. More content, just side content from my main channel. If you want to check out my main channel, make sure you check out the link in the description below for the more curated and edited content. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.